Hey, welcome back. We're going to talk quickly about Lone Star and how to play it. For those of you not familiar, Lone Star is a run-based game. It recently went to 1.0 after being kind of in beta slash early access for a while. It's a lot of fun. It's kind of a deck builder, kind of a bag builder for those of you who know board games. It's pretty unique. It has a lot of variety, and we'll go through it here, just how to play quickly, and then I'll try to post an actual run as well. So basically, you're in a spaceship, and you're just gonna fight a series of enemies and try to make it all the way to the boss and beat the boss. You have three spaceships. Up until recently, it was just two, but Spectra was added in the 1.0 release. I'll just pick the first one since that's what you'd probably start with. When you pick the spaceship, each spaceship is looks pretty similar in terms of size, but starts with different units. And the units are basically these are what do things for you. And it's not really a deck builder in the sense that it's not like you're drawing random units each turn. You're putting units into your ship, and those are the ones you've got, and you always have access to them. There is some randomness, which I'll get to in a second, but you always have access to the same units, and of course you're trying to upgrade them and get more. But so you've got these units, and then you also have a pilot, and the pilot basically just gives you some static bonuses that you've got access to for the entirety of the run. So each pilot has a inherent talent, which is the orange one, and this particular pilot always comes with this particular talent. And then they also get two minor talents, which are the blue ones down here. So you can kind of look at the combination of ship and pilot, and then which random talents you have. And you do get access to quite a few rerolls. Every time you play the game, essentially, you get more and more rerolls. So you could, if you want to, go ham trying to reroll and find a great combination. It also tells you in the corner here the maximum difficulty that you've beat the game using the pilot. So it's similar to other roguelikes and run-based games like Slay the Spire. This does have the equivalent of ascension levels, and it goes up to I think 9 now. It was 8, but then the 1.0 release added a final difficulty. So you can see that these are probably new pilots. I've never even tried them, and this pilot I've only played it on difficulty 3. But for the purpose of this video, it doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna pick one of them, and you can select the difficulty here, and then I'll put it all the way in the bottom just for the purpose of the video, and then we'll go and I'll just show you the first fight to essentially explain what's going on. So the game is a series of fights, and you have a total of 3 sort of galaxies or whatever they're called, and each galaxy has 4 fights. So you have 2 regular fights, you have an elite fight, and then you have the boss. So there's a total of 12 fights. And then after each fight, you have sort of like a rest period where you can, I think they call it a vacation, and you can do kind of random activities there to try to power up. Before the fight, it shows you who you're fighting, and you can see kind of what their abilities are, and you can swap out your units on your ship before the fight starts. So it's like each fight you can kind of go into it, well prepared if you want. It also does explicitly supports kind of what you might call save scumming in other types of run based games. Once you're in a fight, you can explicitly kind of save and exit and then restart the fight if you want to try to redo your ship. And to me, it's kind of supported by the game, so I feel like that's kind of fair play to do. So you also have relics, right? So the first 3 here are the bonuses that we got with our pilot. And then one of the starting bonuses we got with this pilot randomly was just gain 2 random common treasures, which are these white bonuses here. And these treasures are the equivalent of like relics in Slay the Spire or similar games. And they just do random things, and they're you can end up with quite a few of them. It can stretch all the way across the screen by the end of a run, and some of them are really, really strong and kind of run defining. But we're going to just jump in. You see that this is the first fight, so we don't really have a lot of options, and we'll just go for it. And so basically, you have 3 lanes on your ship. And so most enemies also have 3 lanes, but it's not always the case. And basically, you're trying to power up your units to do damage in each lane and just overpower the damage that the enemy is providing in each lane. So currently, we haven't actually powered anything up, and the enemy, you can see these numbers, the enemy is doing 1 damage in the top lane, 2 in the middle, and 1 in the bottom. So you can basically power up your units to do damage. And the way you do that is by using these energy kind of blocks or whatever. They call them energy resources. And you can see that you have a pool of resources. You start the game with a pool of resources 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And at the start of each turn, you generate a random set of those resources. And that's why I call it a bag builder for board game fans, because it's sort of like a bag of dice and you pull them out. And in the first turn, you start with 4. And then in each subsequent turn, you draw 3 more energy out of the bag, and then you use these energy to power up your units and do damage. So you start with, on the top and the bottom, in this particular ship, you have these basic cores, which are just, as the name implies, basic attack units. They don't do anything. Also, if I drag one of the, like this 2 energy into it, you can see that it'll just do 2 damage. And since this is sort of easy mode, and it's also the first fight, you can see that actually the 2 damage is going to be enough to overpower the enemy's single damage in that lane. You can also have attack units, and you can see when you mouse over it, it says it's an attack unit versus a support unit over here. You can also have attack units that do things, right? So this specific attack unit called the Paracore, it tells you what it does, right? So if you put 2 energy into it that has the same point value, you get 2 extra strength. And strength is just the damage, basically. So I actually don't have 2 units of the same point value currently, but I can change that. So if I look at this support unit, I can load in energy, and it will then generate an energy cube that is +1. So for example, I've got this 5, and I could drag this 4 into it and make this a 5 as well. And you can see that the slots, by the way, are colored. So also under the energy resource thing here, you can see that below the numbers, I can't actually point at it because it goes away, but below the numbers you see there's colors. So you have a combination of numbers and colors, and at the start of the game you have 3 white, 2 blue, and 1 orange. So every cube that gets pulled out gets assigned a color as well. And of course, white is the worst, blue is middle, and orange is the best. And it basically the colors just restrict what units you can put the energy into. So you can see the support unit has 2 slots, an orange and a blue. So you can only put an orange in the top one, and then the blue slot, the colors always kind of go down. So the best quality, the orange, can do anything. So for the blue slot, you can put a blue energy, or you can put an orange, but you can't put a white. And then these attack units that we start with are all white, so you can put anything you want in here. So I could, if I want to, I could put the blue in, that would level it up, and then I could put the 5 and the other 5 in here, which would be 12 strength, because it would be 5 plus 5, and then I get the 2 bonus because they would be equivalent. I'm probably not going to do that here just because it would be giant waste. Power up the orange cube, that made that a 4. And now this unit is now full, right? So once you put a energy into a slot, the slot is taken, and now this is done for the turn. The other thing to note is that you can see there's like kind of a 1 with an up chevron here. That means this has 1 power. So this is one of the things that's actually pretty confusing about the game when you first play it. And the game does have a tutorial, but the tutorial maybe could be improved a little bit. And the power versus strength. So strength, again, is just the amount of damage, the total damage you're putting out in a given lane. Power is assigned to a specific unit, and power just means the first time you put energy into that unit, you add the power to the strength. So as an example here, I could put the 2 into this unit, and instead of doing 2 damage, it'll do 3, right? So you can see that there, 3 damage. If, for example, that strength, sorry, that power was on the middle unit, I could put the 2 in here to get 3 as well, but then the next energy I put in would not get the power. It's only the first energy you put in that gets the power. And I got the power, by the way, because I have one of the random common treasures I got was this audio system, which says at the start of the battle, apply 1 power to the attack units in the top lane. So I got this one powered up for this initial battle. So basically, what happens is after you put energy in, and actually let me just put the energy in here to start with. And I'm actually just gonna let that slide. So your ship, this ship in particular, starts with 4 shield, and then you have 24 hit points. So shield regenerates every fight. So it's like I can take right now. I'm taking 3 damage, which is gonna just do damage to my shield, and at next fight I'll get the 4 shield back. So I'm actually not taking any real damage currently, and so you'll see what happens. And so I'm doing 1 damage to it, and it's doing 3 damage to me. And you can see that it also has the enemy has its own version of hit points. So it's got hit points as well, and it starts with 10. But instead of shield, the enemy has this durability metric. And the way this works is anytime you win a lane, doesn't matter by how much, doesn't matter how much damage you do, just if you win a lane, you take 1 point of durability off the enemy. So you can see I'm winning 1 lane, so it's going to lose 1 point of durability. When you take the enemy's durability to 0, the enemy becomes stunned. And then the next turn, the enemy does nothing. It doesn't attack you. So you have like a free turn to do damage, and obviously that's really great. So the game it's pretty important in the game to obviously break durability, but it's also important to do it at the right time. And in the easy level, kind of like the first difficulty level, it doesn't really matter too much. But as you go up in difficulty, it can be good time to stun the enemy, and there could be bad times to stun the enemy. And as an example, you can see that next to the enemy, this indicator, there's this like flashing hazard sign, and this tells you that next turn the enemy is going to do a powerful attack. So it would be nice to stun it right now, because it would then lose its next turn and not do this powerful attack. But it starts with 4 durability, so unless you have something, some sort of treasure or some sort of wacky thing going on, there's no way for me to actually take it to 0. And that's actually why I'm saving my energy here. Don't want to get into strategy too much on the tutorial video, but I'm saving my energy here because I want to save it for next turn when this thing's going to come at me pretty hard. The other thing is the enemy also has units, and the units do actually do things. So they've got basic cores as well here, but they start with these 3 disposable defense devices, this particular enemy, and there's many enemies in the game. It's quite a lot of variety. So these just say they take when the enemy takes a damage in that lane, this defense device limits the damage to 1, and then it goes away. So if I had put the 5 in here, I would still only be doing 1 damage to the enemy, because this thing is going to block it. So what's going to end up happening is the enemy's going to take a damage, also durability damage. This thing is going to get destroyed. It's going to hit me in the other lanes, and then we're going to kind of refresh in the next turn and try to take care of this powerful attack. So you can see I took the 3 shield damage, the enemy lost the durability, and that defense unit was destroyed. And you can see now the enemy is doing a lot of damage. And so first of all, I'm just going to power this up because there's no reason not to. And I'll wait to power that up. So you can see that it's doing 7, 3, and 7. And you can also see that, with some basic math here, there's no way for me to win these 7 lanes, because even if I put a 5 in here, it would only be 5, and even if I put it up here, it's a 6. I could level this up to 6, and then it would be 7, and I would tie in the top lane, but I'm just getting hammered pretty hard. So you have at your disposal one more tool, which is moving. So you up on the top here, you can see that we've got 3 fuel. That's what you start the run with. So I can move my ship, right? And it costs 1 fuel to do so. So what I'm getting at here is I'm gonna probably want to move the ship up and or down so that I only have to deal with 1 of the 7 lanes. So you can see that if I move down, for example, the top 7 becomes gray because the enemy is going to miss me. At the end of each fight, you get some rewards, and one of those rewards is a single fuel. So you can think of it like each fight you have 1 fuel for free, and if you spend more fuel, then you're going to have to kind of regain that later. And but we're definitely going to do that now. So I could move down and get this this basic core with with power to be involved. And I think that's that's what we'll do. So we move down, and now this 7 lane is going to miss me, and I don't want to level up these 5s because I want to use both of them to get the extra strength. So I'm going to put the 5 and the 5, and you can see, as I said before, this is going to be 12 strength because 5 plus 5 plus 2 from the paracore's ability. So we're actually doing a fair amount of damage there. I can put the 3 in here, and then we're in good shape. So I can actually level this up one more time. I forgot to do that. And then we're gonna do most of the damage here. Unfortunately, we're not gonna do enough to stun it, but we're gonna have a be very close to winning. And then in the third turn, it's once again doing a lot of damage, this time in the middle, but we have the tools to deal with this. So I can level this energy up to 6 and then just put 2 6s in the middle, and then easily overcome the 8. And you can see that with this little symbol, it means that if I end turn right now, we're going to win. We don't want to end turn right now because we're taking a ton of damage, but you can see that little unhappy face means we're about to win the fight. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put this in here to make sure we don't take damage there, and do this, and we're going to take 1 damage to our shield, which is not relevant because we're going to get the shield back in the end turn, and we're going to win. So we've won this fight, and we're going to get rewards. So like I said, you get your fuel back, 1 fuel. You get some coins, which is obviously going to be used in shops. And then you always get to choose a unit. And again, like, it's not a random draw. Like, it's not like a deck builder where you draw units each turn. Like, you just get these permanently. So you can see these are both regular, common units up at the top. There's also rare units, and then there's legendary units. And you can just read them, and they've got powers that do some fun stuff. I would probably just, looking at this real quick, I'd probably take the attack unit because we start with these 2 kind of basic ones that don't do anything. But for this video, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to pick one. And then after you get your unit, you go on vacation. And in each vacation, you have a number of days to spend. And then you have activities which cost days. So I actually started with this employee benefit treasure, which gives an extra day. So I have 3 instead of 2. I'm supposed to have 2 days here, but I have an extra day. It doesn't really matter because I can't actually use it since each activity costs 2 days. And you just kind of pick one based on what you think is best, and it'll give you some power-ups and give you some options and some events and things like that. So I could, for example, go to the shop and spend some money. I could get some kind of fuel upgrade, or I can get a random event that you never know what it is. It's always positive stuff, but you never know exactly what it's going to be. So let me, for example, pick fuel, and I could get 2 fuel, which I don't need, or I could spend some money to get a max fuel, or take some damage to get a max fuel. So I could do that, and I've taken some damage. I've got now 4 max fuel instead of 3. So that's really it. That's that's sort of the gameplay loop. There would be, after this, another regular fight. Then there's an elite, and the elite, you probably can guess it, rewards. In addition to everything else, you also get a treasure as a reward, and then you have to fight a boss. And there's three of these, right? So you can see here, there's essentially 12 fights. So we just did the first one. So you do this whole kind of rigmarole 3 times, and that's the run. So if you get to the end and kill the last boss, you have won. Yeah, so I'll try to post a video with an actual run at the top difficulty level. Maybe it's actually a pretty challenging game, and I don't win consistently yet, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching.